Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. As you can tell, my voice is not great again today, but after I'm done recording this one, I'm going to have a couple of days off because it's the weekend for me tomorrow based on when I record these. So hopefully we can get through this one today and I can have a little rest. Today, because I don't want to have to talk through too much, I'm playing a deck that's relatively straightforward in Mono-Black Helm. If you're unfamiliar with this deck, essentially we're trying to put Dauthi Voidwalker or Leyline of the Void into play and activate Helm targeting our opponent, which mills out their entire deck into the exile zone. Combined with this, we've got a bunch of really annoying black permanents. So we've got 4 Plague Engineers, which is really good against a bunch of creatures. We've got 4 Opposition Agent, which is obviously very, very good against these decks that want to search, whether that's Fetch Lands, Green Sun Zenith, Natural Order, Urza's Saga. It hits a lot of stuff. And we have a Sheoldred, which can stop people trying to draw cards because it's going to hurt them a lot. So that's kind of what we're trying to win with when we're not trying to combo them out. We also have another cute combo in Ill-Gotten Gains. So if your opponent doesn't have a graveyard, this discards a hand and draws you 3 pretty much. So that's the plan. We've got some disruption, as you can imagine, a couple of hymns, a set of Thoughtseize, and some dark rituals to help power things out, alongside 7 of our soul lands to try and make sure we can cast a 3-drop on turn 1. We also have this cute card that I quite enjoy, Black Market Connections. It's a very good way of trying to kill yourself, to be honest, because you can do all 3 of the modes. So you can just pay 6 life, get a treasure, draw a card, make a 3/2. And hopefully we're going to recoup some of the life lost using our Sheoldreds. But this is a card that I feel has a lot of potential, so I like to give it another go. Mana base wise, bunch of swamps, a couple of Urborgs to offset our ancient tombs, and some Chrome Mox to imprint some bits and pieces in to make sure that we can get up our curve. As for our sideboard, pretty straightforward. We've got some hand disruption in him to Tourach. We've got Tourach himself. We've got the full 4 copies, which is probably a little bit greedy here, but there's a lot of blue-white control decks around at the moment, so we just want to punish them. If our opponent's trying to win the game of creatures, we got a Sheoldred's Edict, we got 4 Sudden Edicts, and we got a Toxic Deluge or 2. And then if we need more threats, we got a couple of Ravenloft Adventurer, which the initiative alone can certainly solo some games out. That's where we're at with this one, so we're just going to jump right into it. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. These are all things you should do. There's a link in the description. Alright, let's play some Legacy while I can still talk. We're on the draw, so we get a chance to draw some more mana. We're kind of good against combo. We're kind of good against creatures if we can find another land, so I think we're going to keep this one. Alright, our opponent's Thoughtseizing us, so we're going to lose our Chrome Mox here, I imagine, which is going to be somewhat awkward unless they really need to keep their hand intact. But they can always take the Chrome Mox to stop us double Thoughtseizing on turn 1. They did take the Chrome Mox as expected. City of Traitors is a nice find. Let's Thoughtseize and see what our opponent's 4-card hand is doing. Stoneforge Mystic is the most immediate threat here. We'll take that. So opponent is like Dead Guy Ale sort of jam right there. Good black spells, good white spells. Stoneforge Mystic, all that jazz. A Lion Sash. This is a cat. I think it's worth just cleaning this guy out now. Like, if they want to Swords to Plowshares it's a 2-for-1 when our opponent mulliganed already, so. Alright. We lost the swamp. This is going to get plowed when we attack with it. Interesting. There's no point Thoughtseizing when they have a plow. And I don't think we're going to. We don't want our Plague Engineer to get plowed here. The one in our hand, because that's going to name something useful like human. There's the plow. That card has already done its job. Alright, opponent just drew a land. An ancient tomb. We'll put this out so we can at least start pressuring. I think we name human. This shuts off things like Dark Confident and Mother of Runes, which might be in our opponent's deck. We just still don't really have any reason to get rid of these. We know our opponent has got a hymn to Tourach in their deck, so keeping more cards in hand is actually quite useful for that. We can cast back-to-back 4-drops anyway. Another swamp, you say? Good attacks. I would like to see what our opponent's working with now. Hidetsugu consumes all. And Dark Confident. Do I care about this one? Maybe. Like, we do have the Dark Confident checked right now. But if they kill our guy and deploy a Dark Confident, we're going to feel pretty bad about it. 2 free damage. So turn off the clock. What a ridiculous game this is. There's nothing really going on. There's this 2-2 getting it done. We're going to cast this now so it can't get taken out of our hand. This gives us access to a Hail Mary. Opposition agent. Sure. Are we going to trade? We are. Okay. So we can always Helm of Obedience looking for cards from our opponent's deck. A him. Sure. That's fine. He just goes Dark Confident in hand. Alright. Alright, our opponent's not going to like this one. We're doing it this way because I don't think our life total matters that much. And I'd like to have the ability to maybe activate a Helm if it comes down to it. Let's go to attacks. Let me just take this one card out of my opponent's hand. What was it? A Calder Complete. Alright. They're in the Castle Lockthwain. Can actually get some cards out of this one. I can activate once without adjusting the clock. We're not going to play this Ancient 2. Maybe our opponent will try and Thoughtseize. Unlikely considering they're on 3, but... There's Badlands. So our opponent's more Team Italia. Alright, they're going to go to 1, hoping to draw a plow or something. Alright, they didn't get there. So our opponent is trying to win with creatures, so removal will be good. Our opponent is a white deck, so Tourach will be good. Putting the initiative into the game is an interesting one, though. Opposition Agent is fine against some of their stuff. This isn't really a Leyline Helm matchup, I don't think. So we can board those out and just be like a good mono-black sort of deck. Question is, what do we want for our last slot here? I do like the Hymn to Tourach as a nice 2-for-1 here. Have a bunch of removal. Sheoldred might be a little bit awkward given Caracas and things. So maybe we'll grab in a Hail Mary Deluge in case we need it. Alright, we'll keep this hand. We can do the things we want to do. Black Market Connections. This is good enough for a Dark Ritual for sure. How deep do we go on it is another question. I guess we see what our opponent deploys. A Dauthi Voidwalker. I would like to draw a card here. Do I want a treasure? I don't think so. Just take the extra card here. Interesting. They're on dueling Dauthis here. We have a source of card advantage, so I don't mind trading 1 for 1 here. Liliana. It's a pretty good one. Yep, we're going to take a bash for 3. Plague Engineer. I think we want a treasure. This lets us deploy 2 Plague Engineers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it doesn't let us deploy 2. I'll make a creature then. We'll make a 3-2. Plan here is... Thoughts is our opponent. Queen Marchesa. That's kind of irritating. Is it more irritating than Liliana the Veil though? I think so. There's more likely to be more rogues in our opponent's deck than there are multiple Dauthis. So they can play a Liliana and make us sacrifice a Shapeshifter. So we can play around that because we have the token. We don't care about Wasteland here. We got this Black Market Connections. We're more than happy to discard. I'd quite like our opponent to Wasteland our City of Traitors. A Dark Confident. Alright. Yep, so they've Wastelanded this, which means we can play this without worrying about it. Unfortunately, we do take the 2 here. I would like to get rid of this Dark Confidence somehow. Okay, that's certainly a way we can do that. I think we just want treasure now. This is a tough choice what to do. So we go to attacks. Attack Liliana with both. So we can either make sure we don't take any additional damage, or we can stop them from getting a card. We can't do both. I think we have to name Rogue here and just stem the tide, otherwise we're going to die to our own connections. So they get 1 card out of this Dark Confident in theory. A Scrubland. On the one hand, I'm glad it's not a spell. but wouldn't have minded a little bit of free damage on our opponent if it was a spell that wasn't very useful right now. Our opponent's playing Cauldra, so we could have had a nice 7. Right, so there's a scrubland. The Leyline can take this edict out of our hand. Let's see what it does. We're sacrificing a creature, are we? Interesting choice. Use engineer. Sure. So we go up to 9, then we go down to 7. But we have this covered, then we kill the Liliana, and I just need to win before our black market connections kills us. We have to choose one of these. So we're just going to choose some treasure now. We do need to find something else, because our black market connections races our guy at the moment, which is a weird place to be. If we draw a card here, we go to 4. That's 3 turns. Oh, God. I might regret this. Yep, I'm going to regret that. Please draw a Sheoldred. That'd be nice. I'll take that. We're not casting that Thoughtseize. Sheoldred. Not a Sheoldred. Just has to be a token. So we get to our opponent for 6 more damage. We need to find the Sheoldred or we're going to lose here. Another threat might change things as well. Yikes. I think there was a turn before where we could have made a 3-2. Like at the start of all this, and that would have been right. I didn't do the math at the time. So I need to find a Sheoldred now, please. We are going to die to our black market connection. As it turns out, crime does not pay. We are just dead to our connections, so we'll just... Right, we'll go to game 3. I'm happy with how we sideboarded there. It was unfortunate we drew both connections. They're not great in multiples. Yeah, I think we just fire it back up. We can turn 1 him. That's not really what this game is about, is it? I think we keep this, though. We've got a hand disruption and removal and a nice big fatty. Just a casual swamp. Nothing to see here. A Caracas, okay. Bit of a weird spot. I don't really want to play this Sheoldred out now. I guess we're putting it under the Chrome Mox. Because of the Caracas. Let's mess with our opponent's hand. A Dauthi Voidwalker and a land. A swamp. We'll see a Stoneforge, yep. So we have this covered with the edict. And there's a call to complete. Our swamp. Get rid of this now. Let's see what our opponent's been left with. We stripped 2 threats away from them so far. Dark Confidence, a good one. Plague Engineer? Not a Plague Engineer. Maybe their Dark Confidence will kill them like our Underworld, not Underworld connections, Black Market connections killed us. Alright, so we're taking 2 here. Sure, that's fine by me, we got loads of land. They might Prismatic Ending the Mox here. Again, that's fine, we got more land. Just deploy a City of Traitors here, so we don't have to take any damage off of it. A Vindicate. Alright, are they going to blow up our land? They're probably not going to blow up our land, having seen that. An Opposition Agent. Guess we'll pass, and we'll throw this in at a timely moment. There's the Scrubland. I think we're trying to leverage the at any cost part of Dark Confident here. I don't think we want to block, I think we want to try and race here. Right, let's do this. They've got 2 answers, potentially, but they are both sorcery speed. So we can get in a hit with this one. They had a plough. Alright, and there's a Stoneforge. I think this game is over. They just had a card advantage engine online for far too long. A multitude of removal spells did not materialise. Sure, we'll discard some lands. There's the Stoneforge. Maybe Batterskull. Yep. I don't think even drawing something like Tourach's going to help here. Toxic Deluge, on the other hand. That's a spicy card. Pay 2 life and sweep their board. Okay, let's play this card they know about. Maybe we're supposed to keep that in hand, actually. Rely on the city. Okay, so they can hardcast a Batterskull. And they can keep rebouncing this Batterskull. We don't have answers for... Ooh, they drew another Bob. And I was jitting. Okay, so the jitter is going to be online. We just need our opponent to hit some high CMC spells. That's not one of them. So just they can offset the life loss because they can gain life. So they gain 4 a turn cycle. I think it's just play Batterskull though. Oh yeah, they got the ritual, aren't they? So they can play Batterskull as well. Alright, what are we going to find? A land. An edict. That doesn't do it. I think we're done here. Yeah, just didn't really get there. Let's go to round 2. We keep this. 5 cards. So we have a choice here about what we put under the Mox. I think Dauthi Voidwalker is just a better card than Engineer. So we're just going to play the Dauthi. Our opponent might not be a Reanimator because they haven't scooped to this, which is usually game over in game 1. Right, it could be a Storm deck in terms of decks that mulligan a lot and have fetch lands. A Ponder. Okay. Not sure what our opponent is running there. Chose not to shuffle. Are we supposed to play around? We can't have Terminus this turn. We play the Swamp and we play this. We can get Terminus next turn, but that's next turn's problem. Preordain. Okay, so our opponent is on the Sneak and Show spectrum, I imagine. Which explains the mulligan, as well as the lands and stuff they played. And a Ponder. They put 2 on the bottom from their Preordain. So I think they have an A, but they're just trying to find a B. They shuffled with their Ponder, that's good too. It's important to put a bunch of permanents in play in case there's an Emrakul we can sacrifice things that aren't our threats. Although the one downside of this means that if we draw a discard spell and we make them discard, we can't just cast the Emrakul with our Dauthi. They did not shuffle. Here it comes. An Omniscience. Okay, we're probably dead. Atraxa, what are you going to find? If it finds Emrakul, we lose. Did not find the Emrakul. They do have Brainstorm and Ponder to try and find the Emrakul. But we're not, strictly speaking, dead just yet. Here's the Ponder. They shuffled. Now, we do have to deal with this Atraxa, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do. But we can try something. It's not really it, is it? We're not winning this race. Force of Will, Brainstorm, Mountain, Daze, City of Traitors, Ponder. We're not winning this race. So we're going to try a Brainstorm. Oh, sorry, a Ponder. If we hadn't played the Leyline, the Brainstorm would have been an option for us. Ill-gotten gains. That's not going to resolve. I think it's any order. Shuffle. I think we are going again with this Ponder. We don't beat what's on the board, so we need to dig into a Helm. We could hope they don't have the blue card for the Force. Oh wait, no, they can cast it for free off Omniscience, can't they? Right, it's going to be tough. So we're going to have to take a little bit of damage, try and get them to counter an opposition agent or something. Maybe we're supposed to shuffle with that Ponder because we need the Helm of Obedience, but we also need a discard spell. So maybe we're supposed to shuffle and hope that we can just run a runner instead of having one piece and trying to bait them with the opposition agent. I think we are dead here though. We know top card of our library is a Swamp, so we just got to try and maybe get our opponent this way. Choice is 9, we just take it. Can we bait the Force of Will there? I doubt it. Maybe our opponent will misclick. Alright, did not work. This matchup's normally alright because they can't really show and tell if you start the game with a Leyline, which is good to know. So what is useful here? Hymn to Tourach, it's going to be helpful. Plague Engineer, it's going to be rubbish. We can jam a couple of Edicts. Don't mind those things. Everything else here seems pretty good. Sure, we'll submit like this. I don't think we want the Tourachs here, they're quite expensive. I'm more for those sort of control edicts. We have him to Tourach and him to Tourach. That's usually a pretty good way to win a game. And this ill-gotten gain's not going to do most here though. Play our Swamp, next turn we'll him, turn after we can him. And just keep it coming. If our opponent turn 1s us, then fair enough, we lose. But this isn't normally how they turn 1 you. It's normally the Soul Land plus Petal. Probably just give me a Ponder. There we go. He did not shuffle, okay. Need to hit good with his hymn. Okay, we took 2 of their mana. So that might delay them a turn. Another Ponder. And a Volk. To play around specifically Spell Pierce, I'm going to play this Ancient Tomb out. I'm going to jam another hymn down our opponent's throat. Force, pitching Force. Alright. And a Mountain. This is a big threat. Makes Grizzlebrand bad. Attack in. Go Dauthi Voidwalker. Let's go Black Market Connections. Next turn we can cast Ill-Gotten Gains, hopefully, which will mind twist our opponent because of the Dauthi Voidwalker. Dauthi Voidwalker plus discarding an Emrakul or something from their hand is game over as well, because we get to cast it using our Dauthi next turn. So, a sneak attack. Do they have the mana to do anything with this? No. Alright. I would like to get treasure and draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can't cast both. If this resolves, it's game over. Yep. So what did our opponent discard there? Yep, so we're about to cast this Emrakul. So, pretty nice. Alright, game 3. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's go again. Okay. It's a little bit slow, but our hand doesn't necessarily go fast. Praise Mulligan to 5. Makes our hymn look a bit tastier. 4. Alright. That should buy us an additional turn or 2, hopefully. If our opponent just turn 1s us, then fair enough. I guess they just wanted it more, right? Oh wow, they're just scooping. Okay. Fair enough. Didn't really earn that one, but I think this matchup's pretty good for mono-black decks in general. You've got edicts and stuff, so you can snipe the creatures if they're doing sneak attack lines. And if you have a Leyline in play, they can't ever show and tell him. In case you have an Helm of Obedience, it just kills them. Unless they're killing you exactly on that turn with sneak attack. And obviously, Dauthi Voidwalker plus discard gives you some terrible monsters. So, alright, let's go to round 3. Okay, we don't have a turn 1 play necessarily, but we have a turn 0 play, so that can be our turn 1 play. City of Traitors are a little bit awkward, but we can turn 3 Sheoldred or Ill-Gotten Gains. Alright, targeting us with the Unmask. They can reanimate our Sheoldred, which is pretty horrible. We're probably going to lose to this Sheoldred then. Here we go. Okay. We have a plan. So we play Plague Agent in the next turn, which can block this. And then we try and draw a mana source for Helm of Obedience. Or do we do it now? Play this one out. Play this out. Put under the connections. Let's play the Helm. Our opponent can discard our hand, but they can't blow it up once it's in play if they're like standard reanimator. So we'll just take the hits here for 3 and then 2, and then we'll kill our opponent and they'll die in their draw step. Alright. Was a little bit awkward there for a minute, but we got there. So I like Hib's Tourach. I like Edicts here. Plague Engineer is rubbish here, so that can go. And we've got to find 3 cuts. So the reason I like the hand disruption is because we also have to beat Show and Tell. This game's probably going to be too slow for Black Market Connections to do its thing. I dislike having our opponent discarding our Sheoldred and then reanimating it. But it is nice as a thing we can put in if they're going on the Show and Tell route. So I think this is about where we're at. These matchups tend to be... Oh, I guess actually we could put Ravenloft Adventurer instead of Sheoldred. But it's kind of much of a muchness, really. This hand is not great, to be honest. Our opponent goes first. They discard our Chrome Mox. Then what happens? I think it's great for us when that happens. Like, a lot of our hand is pretty good here, is the problem. I think the Helm of Obedience is something for later. So the hope here is our opponent has mulligan to a hand that beats the Leyline. Face looting. They're going to have a Lotus Petal to go with it. Lotus Petal reanimate and we die. Grief. Okay. This is certainly a choice for our opponent. I think that's a... I don't know, it's tricky. I think they get rid of the Mox, yeah. We did not find the black source. How dead are we? So we have these edicts that we can fire off into our opponent if needs be. Very funny deck. It is a black source, just not the sort of thing we wanted. So now they got Faithless Looting flashback mana. Alright, so we're getting a Show and Tell. We didn't really have a lot of options for this. Let's hope it's not an Archon, I guess. It's not an Archon, sure. We shut off Entomb with this opposition agent. That's about it. If they draw some more cards, we draw a black source and Sudden Edict them, we might be alright. They've already used 2 Lotus Petals, they might not be able to get too much done this turn. But we'll see. Alright, we're going to lose one of our Sudden Edicts, I imagine. Yep. Are they going to take the other one as well? Yep, I'm going to lose the other one. Okay, so we need to draw a bunch of stuff that we can't possibly draw. Alright, opponent, you carry on. You have a nice, fun time at my expense. Actually, I think we just concede here, right? They're going to have a reanimation spell somewhere. There's no point wasting our time. On the play, we're a lot better than we are on the draw. So let's submit and go again. Thoughtseize into Dauthi Voidwalker is pretty strong here. I'll keep this. Especially if they mulligan, looking for answers to Leyline. 5 cards. Our Thoughtseize should certainly let us survive to turn 2. 4 cards. Right. I believe it was called the mulligan that wouldn't stop. Let's see what they're working with here. We might be able to just strip them of all of their cards in the very near future. Goodbye, Entomb. There's the Catacombs. Cracking it now because they know we got Opposition Agent in our deck. I think we are going to play the Dauthi Voidwalker up first. That's the way things go wrong for us if they have access to their graveyard. There's Badlands. Also, if we can discard something cool. Oh, not that one. We want to cast the Him here. See if we can hit a monster. We did not hit a monster. If we draw a Soul Land, we have the game won. We also have an answer to Animate Dead. Just go to attacks and deploy the agent or the Sudden Edict, depending on what we need. They can't Show and Tell without dying here. In comes the Oppo agent and back to us. No attacks. In come the guys. We will deploy this Dauthi because it represents lethal next turn. And we still have 1 mana for our Helm of Obedience if our opponent Show and Tells. Alright. So back in the day when a lot of the format was Reanimator and Blue-Red Delver, it obviously still is, but it used to be a much bigger part of the meta than it is now. And that's basically why this deck got built in the first place. It's pretty miserable against a lot of the sort of grindier control decks, which there's a lot more of now than there once was. But it does a real good job of beating graveyard decks. Alright, let's go to round 4 with 2 and 1. This hand's got a plan, right? Let's see if there's a good plan. Please be a Reanimator player, I guess. If they Show and Tell, we can win the game. So let's hope they do that. Tropical Island. Underground Seas. This could be like bug mid-range maybe. Alright. Could be a lure in as well. I think the play here is just make the Dauthi. I don't think our opponent is a Daze deck. But they could be. But we have to work through it at some point. We're trying to resolve a 4 mana spell. So these sorts of like bug mid-range decks tend to be not Daze based. Because they want to control you out of the game rather than tempo you out. Although sometimes the luring decks can run it as a little bit of protection on their combo turn. It could also be bug Doomsday. They did not shuffle the library. Makes me sad. So I would like to get a look at what our opponent's doing. If they are something like a Lurin and we don't Thoughtseize now, we could be in trouble. Or a Brainstorm. Okay, they're going to hide some stuff from us. Hopefully there's just bad cards they don't want on top of their library, so they've at least burned the Brainstorm. This also sets us up for a Chrome Mox, Dark Ritual, or Soul Land to potentially win the game next turn. Interesting. I don't care about these Uros. These Force of Wills are also a little bit of a jam up too. But we'll take the Thoughtseize and we'll work through the forces. Part of the problem is that their forces, they've got blue cards in Uro to pitch to them. I think it's just the cleanest way is take the Thoughtseize, and it means we have the Helm in hand still. So you can find a spot, whereas the Thoughtseize means we just don't have it to ever find a spot with. A Grist, that's a pretty good one. Are they going upstairs with the pluses? Or are they going to go down and blow up our guy. They missed 1 point of damage here, but I can live with that. This is Force of Will bait. Force of Will pitching one of the Euros, as expected. Sure. And then hopefully we might be able to tease something out with a Plague Engineer. Because putting it on Insect is going to kill all their tokens that they're working so hard for. No targets for Wasteland over here, opponent. For 3, what is this going to be? Endurance or Leovold? Leovold, sure. So we know our opponent's last 2 cards here. So this can eat the Insect and then block the Leovold. Alright, so we've successfully worked our way through all of their permission in their hand. So next turn we have the win. Unless our opponent happens to get lucky with their 1 draw this turn. They do get a draw from Leovold when we target them. But that's going to be too late. Because the ability is already going to be on stack there unless they've blown in Stifles. They can't hard cast a Force of Will either. Alright, if this doesn't work, we can always cast Ill-Gotten Gains on the following turn and get everything back. And Mind Twist our opponent. Alright, we got there. This sort of matchup is going to be difficult though. Bug Control. Genuinely going to be a tough one, I think. We're going to want some hymns. And I don't mind the Black Market connection here either. I think our deck is alright in this spot. Quite like Sheoldred Edict as a way to clean up a Planeswalker. These are the things I'm thinking about. Opposition Agent is going to be good. They've already shown us that it's going to be good. Are we supposed to slow it down? Get rid of some rituals? I don't hate that actually. Let's do that. Gives us less bad draws in our deck. We could also just add in some Ravenloft Adventurers, but our opponent has shown us their ability to make a decent number of guys. It's a bit of a liability maybe. Thoughtseize into him, it's pretty good. Also we can go into Opposition Agent if that's the thing we want. We are exposed to Wasteland a little bit though. Fatal Push, Grist, Pernicious Deed. I'll take the Grist please. Basic Forest and over to us. I'm not actually that bothered by our opponent's hand here. I think I'm going to pass and drop an Opposition Agent because they can't Fatal Push it unless they have a fetch land. And if they have a fetch land we get them anyway. Could be a Green Sun or an Uro. It's just the Deed. I'm still going to deploy this, get a little bit of damage out of it. Force our opponent to spend 3 mana, so effectively 6 mana over 2 turns to answer our guy. Let's toss them, see what's going on. A Green Sun Zenith and a Fatal Push. Sure. Let's just hit them. Right, let's do the Trop. They can take 3 a turn if they want. Or they can try and clean up our Opposition Agent this way. But we can deploy a backup Opposition Agent as well. I'm not going to deploy this Leyline and just give them a free clean up there. Sure, I can have a Ponder. I did not shuffle an Uro. It's a little bit annoying, isn't it? I think I'm going to deploy this other Opposition Agent to force our opponent to use their mana to kill our Opposition Agents before they play their Uro. So this turn they have to crack the Deed, and then next turn they might be able to play the Uro. We get to drop the Sheoldred then. In case of whether or not they want to take 6. Right, we got a new game plan as well. Goodbye, little friends. Let's deploy the Leyline. This represents a kill next turn. Our opponent is very clearly holding open Force of Will rather than deploying this Uro that they could do. So let's walk into this Force of Will. Or are they going to hold it for the Leyline? For the Helm? Yeah, alright. We're doing the bait thing like we did in the previous game. Our opponent kind of needs to find Force of Will and blue card from their draw step and their Uro draw. Here comes the Uro. A Brainstorm. That's a pretty good way to find an answer to what we're doing. There's a Thoughtseize that takes away our Helm. Got a Gains is good. Helm is good. Plague Engineer not so much. We're going to name Bird for the purposes of Baleful Strix. If Zero dies, it goes underneath the Leyline, so the Death Touch here is pretty annoying for our opponent. It's not like classic Uro days where you get to just keep swinging. Okay, they have a Grist. Making a little guy. This is slipping away from us a little bit. Collect Roof, sure. They're not attacking here, they're going to wait till next. What? Alright. They got a Fatal Push or something? Sure, I'll permanently get rid of this array. A ponder. Collector Roof might be a little more difficult to get rid of here. The other thing I was thinking about naming with the Plague Engineer was Insect. Just get this Dauthi Voidwalker in. This can threaten the Grist quite handily, so they might just get rid of the token and kill the Dauthi. Or they could fatal push it. There's a bird. No activate abilities for that bird. Ill-gotten gains would be real good here. Wasteland, is that going to go after our city? Yeah, that's fine. We can't cast ill-gotten gains now, though. Ren and Realmbreaker. Can't block anything here, so take our damages. Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Attack Grist. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I think we're dead to this Realmbreaker, right? Oh no, it's only one and it doesn't stay a guy. Alright. Maybe we're not quite dead yet. Alright, this is an Uro, which just gives them a card and a bit of life. Alright, over to us. Let's kill this Grist. Play Sheoldred. Our opponent can definitely win this turn. They got multiple lines to do it as well. Right, they're doing it that way, sure. A little bit unfortunate, but... So our opponent's got more creatures than maybe I gave them credit for. What deluges, maybe? Let's have a Ravenloft Adventurer in there. If we'd have named insects with our Plague Engineer, we might have been in a better spot. Well, they did show us that they had the Belvoir Strix. They could have just cast that. Next turn, play the Grist. So it might not have made much of a difference, really. Our opponent was very rude and had the bad cards in hand to start with and drew the good cards off the top. So our him didn't feel great. Alright, we got some threats here. We can keep coming. Would have loved to Thoughtseize, but don't always get what you want. Alright. We have opposition agents. Our opponent didn't crack their fetch. We're still going to make this guy now. There goes the fetch. Alright, it's our opponent's turn. They took 3. A Collector Roof. Sure. Don't care too much about that one. Not yet, anyway. Keep making guys. I think this is better as target removal. So we're going to go for this on Oof. So we can attack with our 2 guys, and they have no good blocks here. Play this out because we still have 3 mana next turn. There is a Grist. Are they making insect? Sure. We have the Sacrifice of Planeswalker mode here. I'm certainly not opposed to. Can you sacrifice a Planeswalker, please? They can double block one of these guys. But that means they lose their Oof. Sure. So they are dead on board. We don't want to play this Urborg until we have to, because we don't turn their fetch land into a mana source. Alright, we got the match there. Just some good old-fashioned mono-black creature beatdown. Alright, we are 3-1, I think, now, going into the final round for the 4-1. On the play for the final round, our opening hand. What does it do? It makes a turn 1 Sheoldred with Thoughtseize first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's gotta be good. Okay, what are we putting underneath this one? It's gotta be the ill-gotten gains here, isn't it? Let's go. Oh, not that one. Let's go for the Dark Ritual. Let's go for the Thoughtseize. Brainstorm, Cauldron Complete, Swords to Plowshares. So we have to get rid of the Plowshares here. And then we'll play big old Sheoldred. Our opponent will immediately draw Karakas and we'll have a horrible time. Alright, and a Ponder. And lose 2 more from the Sheoldred. Alright, opponent, what you got? Puts you to 10. Oh, that's not going to work out the way you want it to, I'm afraid. I guess they didn't really have much choice here. Alright, turn 1 Sheoldred, pretty good as it turns out. Unfortunately, our opponent is one of these dirtly blue-white control decks, which is not ideal for us. And they've shown us the Stoneforge Mystic as well. So maybe we're supposed to slow this one down a little bit. And maybe board in some good threats. Plague Engineer, not really doing it here. Opposition Agent is pretty medium, to be honest. Our whole Leyline plan doesn't feel great, but I feel we're going to have to steal some games with it somehow. Let's go something like this. Take out Opposition Agent for an Edict, maybe. And trim on this and have the Opposition Agent back. Like, the Ravenloft is just going to be better than the Sheoldred a lot of the time. Alright, we'll submit like this and see how. Our hand doesn't have any mana, so we're going to mulligan this. We have a pretty terrible time versus Prismatic Ending with this hand. I do think we keep it though. I don't think we need 2 City of Traitors. Yeah, this could be awkward. But we're on the draw, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll draw a... I brought out the Dark Riches, didn't we? I'm not expecting to necessarily win this matchup. They did not shuffle off their ponder as well, which is a bit annoying for us. Alright. Given the nature of our hand, we're going to put the Sheoldred underneath it. Then we're going to Thoughtseize, because we can at least take the Prismatic Ending if we have to. Back to basics. Staff of the Storyteller. I think the scariest thing here is the Stoneforge right now. Are we supposed to deploy this city? I don't think we are. As weird as that's going to look to our opponent. Staff of the Storyteller. A mighty fine Magic the Gathering card if ever there was one. Alright, we're going to pass and try an opposition agent here. Our opponent hasn't seen it, but they should expect it from the start that we've done this game. Drawing off their staff first. I mean, again with a Fledstrand. No, we're not. But the idea is that if they counter the opposition agent, we get 2 cards out of their hand anyway. There's like a functional him, potentially. Do we get an oppo agent here? We do. Is it going to live? Let's find out. I think we just hold up the opposition agent again. Because this is the best way of playing around back to basics. There it goes. Bye-bye. Flooded Strand. Okay, just playing at instant speed. This is the value play, but they can just back to basics us. If I were them, I would... I guess if we... Alright, they got a plough as well. Alright, they got a plough. Alright, so they're just going to back to basics us as well. Going to be a tough turn for us, because we're going to be down to like no mana here. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. Yeah, we'll get rid of the City of Traitors. I didn't do anything. Let's say no to enemy cards. It's the top of their blue deck versus our 2 cards in hand. If we can get this market connections down, that'd be nice. Some sort of mana source. It's a mana source. Here comes the connections. I think we're just going to take a full 6 next turn. Alright, take our 1 back down to 20. Let's take a bunch of damage. We want all of these things. Let's take the big hit there. Alright, let's give ourselves Helm of Obedience as a win condition now. Also, ill-gotten gains to buy back. Not really buying back anything too interesting here, but... Alright, we'll take our 1. I like the black market connections goes off in your main phase, so you get to know what you're doing here. I'll take a card here. Pretty good one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it more important to get this Dauthi Voidwalker in, or this Ravenloft Adventurer? They can get the initiative back, which is kind of annoying. Let's put this Dauthi in. Like, if our opponent wraths, I'd like to be able to deploy the Ravenloft on an empty board. So I think that's the better one to sandbag here. Batter Skull, you say. Pretty good card. Also puts a counter on staff. Might need to find something here. Let's draw a card and make a treasure in case we find a Thoughtseize or a him. Let's try Helm. Let's mill our opponent out. Don't have to get rid of Dauthi Voidwalker and Leyline. Alright. A pretty respectable 4-1 in the end. So, in my experience, as a general rule, I find opposition agent, to be quite underwhelming as a creature. When it's good, it's obviously great. But I would say the average quality of this card has really unimpressed me. But I do think it's still worth running. Because like you have creatures covered, you have like combo-y stuff covered. So you kind of need these, you have graveyard covered. You're kind of just playing hate bears, right? But they're just different ones. Black Market Connections is an interesting one. In that last round, it certainly gave us the ability to win that game. Otherwise, we probably would have got buried underneath the card advantage coming from the Staff and Batter Skull. This helped us push through that a little bit. We did kill ourselves with it once, which is going to happen sometimes, right? But that's just a thing. I think the ill-gotten gains... Did we cast that once and our opponent scooped? We did cast that. Yeah, we cast it once and our opponent scooped. So that was pretty good. It's Mind Twist that draws you 3 cards from your graveyard. That's pretty good to me. What I will say about this deck is the curve is a little bit awkward, right? Against some combo decks, it's not that easy to cast the hymns. So maybe the hymns could be something like Duress. I know that's not as big and splashy and powerful, but I feel having more turn 1 interaction is necessary. Also, Chrome Mox is kind of an odd one to me sometimes. Like, it does let you do some pretty gross things sometimes, but it means your opponent's much easier to answer. That's one of the reasons why the blue-white control decks are so good against you, is because you kind of, you know, you've got this Chrome Mox, so you're 2 for 1 yourself. You've got City of Traitors, which is a disappearing land. You've got Dark Ritual, which is just mana acceleration. And if they can just trade 1 for 1 with your threats, they're probably going to win, which is why those control decks can be such a problem. So maybe if you want to try and beat those, you want to tweak around that sort of line maybe. If you watch my channel regularly, you might have seen me playing the Beer Baron deck, which is a black-white sort of deck. It's not a Helm deck, apart from in the sideboard, I think. But it's Black Market Connections deck that leverages a bunch of life gain type stuff, so you can really go to town on the market connections. I'll probably play another one of those at some point soon, but I would quite like to have my voice working properly so I can talk through the changes that I've made to that list that I'm working on at the moment. But yeah, this is MONOBLACK Helm. It's a pretty good deck. You can, you know, the ceiling on it is very high. You can discard people and then just blow them apart with all your big scary things. And you do have I win buttons, which I really like having in decks. I think the sideboard could definitely do with some work as well. Another thing, if you, instead of hymns, you could have Sheoldred's Edicts. But I do think you need something more to interact with on turn 1. I guess you could just mulligan more, but playing cards like City of Traitors and Chrome Mox can make mulliganing slightly more problematic for you. But I think, and like Dark Ritual, doing your one thing is sometimes not enough, unless it's the thing that just wins you the game right there and then. So, I don't know, maybe some 1 mana disruption would be useful. I don't think the Ravenloft Adventurer, like, the logic was sound. We did bring in against that control deck at the end because, you know, if they sweep the board and we play that onto an empty board, we're very far ahead, and they might not find it the easiest to take back the initiative. So I like the idea there, but is that a card that should be in your sideboard? Should it be main deck? Hard to say. It feels like it is taking up space, but then the mono-black Helm decks have a lot of room to work with in their sideboard. Some people like the Karn builds. I don't particularly like Karn that much. It does make your Ancient Tomb City of Traitors better because you can just make turn 2 Karn with 2 different soul lands. And him is obviously at odds with our Ancient Tombs here, so that's another reason why this could just be a 1 mana disruption spell. Alright, I can't really talk for too much longer, my voice is going. I'm going to have a couple of days of rest before I record again. Obviously, you won't notice it, there'll be a video tomorrow. But in terms of how I record in advance, I'm now going to have my weekend, so hopefully I can get my voice back. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon in the description below. Also, just come and join my Discord. It's a free to join Discord, so you can come and say hello, tell me what stuff you want to see, maybe give me some ideas or some weird decks that might inspire me, and contact me personally for donation decks. I've got some donation deck spots for this month if you're interested in them, so please get in touch. Alright, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.